For the newly indoctrinated, Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files follows the story of a professional wizard in Chicago. We've started our podcast as a way to help break down the series' most important moments, characters, and lore. This is McAnally's Dresden Files podcast by Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.
Welcome to McAnally's Pubcast, brought to you by Free Flow Rambling. This is episode 4.2, Lions and Tigers and Gorillas, oh my, where we are discussing the second half of Welcome to the Jungle. My name is Tansenn, and I'm joined by Maggie.
Greetings.
And Jess.
From Earth.
In a city where skyscrapers are built every day, Lincoln Park Zoo is dedicated to being the place in Chicago for all things wildlife. Where children learn to love animals, where adults rediscover what it's like to wonder, and where nature isn't just an escape, but the priority. So we left off at the end of the chapter 2, so we're starting on chapter 3 now, which continues with Dresden fighting off the black dog.
Yes, on his mission at the zoo to find out why people are showing up dead. Yeah, so I'm a cat person. He gets devoured by a massive mystical dog.
Me too.
Well, I'm a little bit of a both.
You're ambi.
Nudge. I'm.
What would that be? Petrus?
That just.
Oh, that sounds bad too.
Yeah. Yeah.
My favorite part is Jess's expression every time she
I swing both ways. I'm just nudging a little more towards dogs.
I wish I could do this podcast from home.
You could. We could make that happen. Wouldn't be nearly so much fun then. The reactions are half the... So they get surprised in the back of his teeny tiny beetle by an enormous supernatural creature. But hey, whatevs. Like you say, it could have just mysteriously appeared there on the go. It might not have been laying in wait for them. And again, I do kind of like this is sort of a neat little display of the visual of him pulling up his shield and stuff like that. He's got this little cone of stuff wrapped around his arm and stuff like that, showing that shield interceding, interspersed between. Just needs a tad more of the bluish glow attached to it. He was always sort of drizzling power. He had sort of that blue tinge. But close enough. The power has. So they managed to, fight that off. They're in the middle of traffic, so after he's trying to swerve and not, drive into other cars.
And driving into other cars.
And getting, head-butted by the creature itself. And so he decides to, take a detour through some construction area to get away from innocent passersby and all of that. And manages to zap, boom, fuego. But I still maintain there's not enough damage done in this construction zone for what's going to happen in. But that's that part. You can cut in the card description there. So yeah, we get a little bit more zappy, power, boom, hairy. And a little more will going, this is going to be harder to rationalize.
What the?
That was a little more than just a candle going poof.
Just slightly.
Yeah. So
they make their way back to the zoo.
Yeah, and they find that Dr. Watson's building is being burned, or
is on fire.
Yeah.
Darn.
Smoldering remains.
I hate when the evidence goes up in flames.
Right, and Harry's kicking himself. He's like, should have known better. I should have made sure to get all the evidence or to tell Murphy to do. But so busy running around, checking his spells, or checking his...
And they had a whole conversation earlier, because Will's like, why don't you call the police? And he's like, it's not enough evidence yet for them to do anything. You're sure right about that.
You're not wrong. And yeah, Murphy looking all grave and serious with her scrunchy cop face too. Do you still carry that little crowbar in your pocket? No, Lieutenant, I'm just happy to see you. Damn it, Dresden. So anything there is now poof gone, whether plain Jane mortal cop evidence or mystical spooky. But he does pass over the The bits of broken jar, the pottery jar that he smashed up, he does give that to Murphy now at this point, at least.
Here's the evidence I destroyed. By the way.
Don't say I never did nothing for you, Murph.
It's got no human blood on it, just animal blood, but whatever.
Yeah.
Animal sacrifices.
Some weird scratchings.
Which, doesn't actually lead to anything so far, but here you go.
Right.
Harry begs for a little bit more time. Has to go track down Reese and Mo. Because he's figured out that these runes must mean that Mo is the last one that they need power from.
Yes.
Watson must be after Mo for the blood.
Yeah, and why he had some evidence from the first one, right? They were on there. That's where the guards sort of interrupted on her way to go. So she sort of got as far, but wasn't able to finish collecting or doing whatever she needed.
Right, so she's forced to go back, and Harry thinks that means she's after Mo now. It's obviously nighttime again, so she's
Prime opportunity
to go after it. And so him and Will, good talking to you, Murph. Got to go by.
Yeah,
they rush off.
I need a beer, and then go back to Reese's office in his mini fridge.
Yeah.
But doesn't get that beer.
But figures out that there is something wrong. Why Reese is on the floor
Dead. that would constitute something wrong.
It sure is.
Wait,
something wrong.
that wasn't there when we left before.
If it was, you're really bad at your job.
You're even worse at here.
So Reese is dead, and that's, Will is having a bad day.
She's having right. Yeah, because she's just as passionate about the gorilla didn't do it, Mo couldn't. And
Well, and then they find Mo outside of the cage, and she has to coax him back in.
They find Mo standing over the dead body. Well, that's not good.
And she does finally step up, because, this whole time she's been pretty passive. Which,
just getting dragged along in the wake of Harry's story.
Exactly, right.
Because he's the one that knows what's going on, right?
Course,
now this is her
But she
turn.
finally does. She's like, no, I can talk to him. And he's like, that thing potentially just killed Reese. Sure, go talk to him. Go.
Yeah.
And even though both of them believe that it wasn't Mo, it is this little bit. It's still a massive gorilla. Like, Reese was just telling you early on, like, if this guy wants to kill you, like, he can kill, like, the most heavyweight champion, heavy lifter.
With one arm.
Thick
easily.
ass, with one arm and be done with it and whatever, like. Gorillas, you don't mess around with these things.
You do not mess around. They are powerful,
And they're territorial,
powerful,
and
they're not cute little Capuchin monkeys or whatever. Which I understand are sort of vicious in their own way.
I was about to say,
but they're much smaller, so, they just have a few sharp teeth, not... it's going to take a lot more work for that Capuchin to take your head off than it is for Mo.
It was a dumb chinchilla monkey in Madagascar. That the shit was evil. Thing was the devil incarnate.
Right? So, but potentially
I don't know what its
manageable.
species was. I don't know if it was supposed to be a monkey or not, but that's like a lemur, I guess, which is like monkey adjacent.
King Julian was the lemur. Is that who you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the evil little thing. I feel like it was also a lemur.
The crazy little...
It was like tiny little brown puffball, and it was fucked up. It was like...
I only vaguely remember. I'd have to... Yeah. I haven't...
Like in the same way that little rat is in charge for everything bad happening in Ice Age, that little thing was like in charge of like every bad thing happening in the entire Madagascar universe. Right. The point is that small monkeys and big monkeys are all evil and dangerous.
There you go. So they get Mo squared away. She calms him down. She can
calms
tell
him away.
Mo's distraught and upset over Reese and stuff like that. And she's like, no, he didn't do it. He's just freaking out because he's here that it happened and stuff too. So
and luckily, Harry finds some hairs.
Some hag hair.
Some green hag hair.
Yeah.
Finds some green
the
hag
body
hair.
on poor, broken, battered.
Who went to fucking town to try to save the gorilla. Woo!
They do say, he fought hard and well for the first, but he really did try
Yeah, he had a lot of DNA under his
interpose
fingernails from like this fight to save the gorilla.
Yeah.
He did do his best to save Mo. Oh. He really did love him.
Fierce little man.
Yep.
Good job.
Yes.
But dead nonetheless.
Yeah. But unfortunately no match for what he was up against, So...
And Mo's got a little bit of scratches on him, so it shows that she was successful and got her blood.
Yeah.
So.
Tracking spell.
Tracking spell, it comes down to it, between Mo and the blood and the hairs and Dr. Reese and the glasses.
Maybe this is part of why why the graphic novels don't gel with me
Novels?
quite as well is the graphic part sometimes. I don't like super, super real nitty-gritty. It hits a little too hard sometimes. And like this scene here, like where they show the hand and it's bloody, and they show like the broken fingernails and the whole, right?
Yeah, the broken fingernail's pretty brutal.
Yeah, in my own, imagination, reading in the novel, Harry can get beat up and have but I can gloss over it a little bit if I need to. I can make it sort of PG-13. Whereas graphic novels, I guess they don't. That's part of it. So, I mean, part of it is I tend to poke fun a little bit because they seem a little over the top, somber and stuff like that. But it's the bits like this, actually, sometimes it is the more realistic real life that I think. So I'm like, no, I don't need my gore and my horror that real. I prefer to have a filter in between. So yeah, it's just like the big whole fight scene. But yeah, they find the hairs and
it is pretty brutal to see that crack through the nail, like that he fought so hard that he ripped his nail through the probably through the hair to pull it out.
Gross.
Right?
And that, yeah. See, that's what. Yeah, Jessica, who's been like freaking me out all week with like true murder stories and stuff too. I'm just like, nope, too real. Nope, I will stick to Dresden's kind of ghosts and murders. Thank you.
She spelled her killer's name out with her hands.
Ugh, duh.
She sign languaged the killer's name and then died with her fingers locked in the position of her killer's name. It's cool as hell.
It's cool, but it still gives me the creeps and it still gives me shivers, and I still just don't need that in my regular day-to-day life because sleep is good. Yeah, see, we're all getting. She just got like the shiver, the heebie-jeebie shiver. Yeah, I know. It's cool but it's so moving right along. They do a tracking spell and start finding their way to the tank. So,
and I want to talk a little bit about the graphic. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I want to know why the artist chose computer parts.
See, I like the picture graphic. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, because I'm like, I like the graphic visual part. I don't like the graphics.
Yeah,
but okay, the picture of him starting up his spell.
Yeah.
And we'll have to. Can we screenshot that and put it up with the
Absolutely.
thing?
We will have
cool.
that. We will have that ready.
We will.
It is very nice, beautiful picture.
Somebody make a note of that so we don't forget to.
But yeah, out of his hands, and maybe I'm biased because I work in IT, but it looks like
we all see what we want to see.
But it does. It looks like computer parts.
It does.
The imagery that I see that's coming out is circuitry boards, that and CPU motherboard
components.
I don't work in IT. Don't look at me for the word.
But yes, it does. It looks like he's got little like microchips and computer chips and motherboards and circuitry and all of that stuff kind of in the swirly whirly around him. And yeah, like you say, the lenses, which could either be
goggles.
They do almost look like sort of steampunk goggles. I don't know if it's supposed to be like camera or computer lens or whether it's just sort of a modified version of the eyeglasses that he took off the doctor, that he, sort of a shadowed layered version, or if it's computer camera or security camera or what exactly. But it is sort of an interesting sort of so yeah, I don't know if it's supposed to be like you say, tracking down the doctors, like looking through the doctor's perspective, and he would do like his research on the computers, or is it just the fact that Harry's computer like in the sense of, he can't actually whip out a GPS or something and satellite track her, but it's like his magic is fulfilling the same
process, like a process
role
power
or something. Yeah, I don't know.
I just thought it was a really interesting choice that the artist did it that way, because it's, to me, I see very clearly computer parts.
Yeah, but I will agree with you on that.
I am very biased, so. Yeah. But I mean, I can go upstairs and I can get those parts and compare them.
Yeah. No, I'm with you right there. They absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's like absolutely do. Yes, absolutely do look like. That one was on purpose.
Okay.
So I use that one all the time. Absolutely.
Okay.
Not all that was. I totally just noticed.
Just jokes.
I just noticed for the first time here too, and it goes. Harry's drawing the circle, and it just shows Will say she's wearing like pink Crocs. What the hell? She's got like her zookeeper safari uniform, but she's got like a pair of like pink Crocs on. What the hell is that?
She changed shoes because the first ones were covered in blood. Poor white trainers are ruined.
They were white at the start, and now there's that graphic part again. But now I'm curious. I'm like, I don't know if we just haven't really had occasion to see her feet at any point before this, because there wouldn't really be your weather. But yeah,
it really contrasts with her town outfit. Clearly, she just has no sense of fashion.
Like nurses' shoes and things. Right. I'm on my feet all day and wear my goddamn. It's a zoo. These things just hose off at the end of the day.
I don't think Crocs were popular then yet, though.
They would have, could have.
In the zoo industry, they were all the rage.
All the rage, yes.
The zoo workers are the ones who discovered them first.
My kids are around that time frame, and I remember their grandma buying them Crocs and things.
I feel
when
like
they
Crocs
were little.
were still a few more years later. This is 1999.
99.
Party
I'm sure Crocs existed. I just doubt that they were as popular, except in the zoo scene.
Yeah. Well, they had to start somewhere.
Totally.
Apparently,
They sent all their shoes to the zoos first.
Adrian Syaf?
Oh, you're looking when the book was published?
Nick Nix and Joe Pimentel and David Rivera and Rick Ketchum, who did all the penciling and inks. Apparently, Crocs were popular with them, because I swear that's what she's got on her feet. So they were ahead of their time. They were in the know. Maybe this is why we can attribute the Croc craze to Dresden. It all started
With
one little graphic novel. Anywho.
So Dresden follows the Hag's trail to Undertown. Is Undertown like an actual thing? Like, do we know this?
Technically speaking, it does really exist because Chicago really did burn down and sink and get fucked up and rebuilt over on top of it.
Times.
The Dresden Files probably make it a lot more extensive than it really is. It's
And
probably a
accessible,
lot more caved in than in the Dresden Files.
Yeah.
But I have thought about that. I'm like as much as Jim Butcher randomly picked Chicago, that was a real good luck of the draw. Like, what does Chicago think? Because if he'd had gone with New York, Harry'd have to be scaling from building to building to building. Like, that's just not good for him.
Either that or everything would be abandoned subway tunnel because it's a hugely massive
legit
subway network.
Like, Harry would have had to have perfected that flying rug, because otherwise how the fuck else is he gonna get the fuck around New York?
Can you imagine if
he was in Los Angeles, that guy would be taking a bike everywhere.
If we wanted to do that here, it'd have to be Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, with the old Al Capone prohibition tunnels, because we do not have an extensive subway system here, and the majority that we have is overground. We have a couple of tunnels, but the majority of
one tunnel
is on the main. Yeah, there's very little that
under a cemetery.
Right. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it does go through a cemetery.
I guess if you're going to, that's the place to do it.
You're right.
And the lights do always dim on the train when you go through that section. It's just everything.
You lose data. You can't connect to the internet. You're right. If it's gonna be anywhere,
right? But it's we don't have a city under a city here because we haven't, burned down or sunk into a swamp, or we don't have excessive
secret
abandoned
mobster
sewers.
In and out.
I was seriously, I'm you'd have to plan this in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, just to get yourself a few prohibition tunnels or something to have a secret underworld supernatural society thriving.
Chicago was a really good for all a happy accident,
right? Yeah, it gave him some of the best options to work with.
Plus, you get the lake, and you are so close to all these other areas that he can drive to. You've got forest, you've got lake, you've got underground, you've got a big metropolitan city. Chicago really worked out as far as a pretty random pick.
It all. Yeah, and maybe that was one of the few things that made it slightly less random.
You've got botanical gardens, and you've got zoos, and you've got field museums, and you've got
at least a little bit of culture.
So he finds a big, nasty, ugly hag at a cauldron doing spell stuff. Yeah, and he's like, haha, time to crash the party.
So he uses a fire spell on her back, while her back is turned.
Yeah. which just kind of pisses her off a little. And turns out, she's not the only one.
Surprise!
I have sisters.
That's where
Wait, sisters?
Watson is very overtly there and is like, fuck you.
And she-
I have sisters. Yeah.
Yeah, evil, sharp,
Not
frowny
just
face
one.
again. But yeah, but
there's three
Watson's still, well, semi-cute and blonde. Yeah, she's looking all evil, and she looks all evil and crazy, and it just reminds me a little bit of the character Elsa, whatever her name was, from Raiders of the Lost Ark. I don't know why, because Elsa was actually much prettier and softer than Dr. Watson is here, but that's nonetheless what it makes me think of. So yeah, so the other ones are all haggy and witchy and grotesque, and she's still human looking.
And Bob told him that it was a cult. So, like, what was Harry expecting?
Right.
He said the cult of
He just
Hecate.
didn't really think that through.
He
He
never
didn't expect
does.
them all to be here. He just thought it was one trying to level up, but apparently she brought friends. So, yeah. So Harry's now, surrounded, outsmarted again. Ah, shit.
Outgunned.
Outgunned.
Yeah, so he starts doing that whole jumping around. He's like, as long as I don't stop, they can't get me. And he's just, parkour. Jumping around the underground.
Jump around.
Jump around. So, you know,
Down.
You go ahead. Sorry.
no, he just takes out, a piece of wall here, a piece of wall there, crushes a hag.
It's very clever. Use your surroundings.
Yeah. I mean, he could have crushed everything. He could have just,
true, he
taken
could have
out the
just
support.
died.
Could have taken out the load-bearing wall and just died, exactly.
Problem solved.
Well,
so is Harry. Series over.
Harry's willing to go that route more than once, but that's not always his first option. He's like, I will take out the whole, yeah, I mean, he said it to Victor and all that, too. He's like, I will die here as long as I take you with me. But, Harry's okay with trying to avoid that option if he can. That's not always his first go-to.
But it's well established that he used all of his magic against, the Hellhound. Or the black dog,
pretty
He was he had quite a scuffle there, and then
Then he uses the rest of it, like the majority of the rest.
tracking spell, and
And
even
then the
doing that
wall,
last one,
taking that wall down.
taking that wall down. So it's
yeah.
I don't know,
He recycles some of his energy because he takes some of that rubble to try to take out he takes out the
Yes.
cauldron.
he takes out the cauldron with the rubble. He throws a
spell.
couple boulders at it, and that's
then
good.
he's
And then they want
pretty much
revenge. But yeah, he's pretty exhausted. He used up his kinetic ring early on to hit off the dog. So he's basically out of tricks. So my point is that for his last party trick to create a force field around himself and not be crushed by rubble, he didn't have that in his pocket.
But he didn't, and this is one of those ones, because again, he's not getting as battered on for as long as he is in the book and stuff like that. And I don't recall him really saying he's out of gas so much. And so yeah, he's thrown around some stuff. He's lost a few hit points, but he's not that low yet, I don't
Magic
think.
points, really.
Magic points.
Spell slots.
Spell slots. Right? He might have used a 6th level and a 5th level, but he's still got
I
a
was
couple.
thinking
He's
more
not
Final
completely-
Fantasy myself. Sorry.
Sorry,
I just
I
don't know.
only
genre.
did D&D.
See, yours is more accurate. Just
Get your nerd flavor here, whichever one you can relate to.
Yeah, my RPGs are Final Fantasy. What can I say?
There you go.
Magic points.
So yeah, and he does, exactly like I say, he thinking smart or working smarter, not harder, like you say, is he doesn't aim it at the hag herself.
Oh, so you're okay with how he held his cat then?
Not that part. So that was a personal take. I'm just saying, he's used up some, because normally he'll say to you, I just don't recall him saying in here that he's like, I was down to my last spell slot, and they were
After he tore down the wall.
used, but yes, yeah, after he zapped the ceiling to crush her and stuff like that, yes, then he's...
Well, we also have the fortune of hindsight is 2020. We'll get there.
Yeah.
At the end of this
This
chapter.
little A-team. I love it when a plan comes together. Thank you, Hannibal.
Yeah,
the
so
other one.
he ruins their cauldron, spell, potion, ascension, ritual.
circle, ring, whatever,
whatever.
elements.
There will be no new Hecates here today.
Hecate's today. So then they're instantly, and he does manage to take out 2 sisters too, because one of them grabs him, is holding him up, and is about to crush his windpipes. As she's taken the blasting rod, she's taken the staff. And you know what
Shaking him
he
like a
just
spray
happened to
can.
have on him at all times is that gun.
Thank God.
Thank you, 45.
Bam, 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 bam.
So he slugs her, or puts a couple slugs into her.
At least 4.
Yeah, he's banking on the fact that he burnt all the skin off, that she's no longer.
she's not as impenetrable as before.
Which paid off.
Hugely, because he was right.
Yeah.
But at this time,
Bob better not have been lying, or
the
Bob
other
better have been
sister
literal
has
or whatever.
taken the flying fuck off. He doesn't know where she is. So he
Right,
has
well,
to use the
and
rest
she's
of the
threatened.
spell.
She's like, you ruined my day, I'm gonna ruin yours. And she takes off, so that's instantly, like, bad news. Like, oh, no.
I have a feeling I know where she's going next.
Yeah,
a little
so-
tiny bit of a zing left to do. The tracking spell is still working.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, his maybe he's not out of, like, mojo for power, but, like, this man's just run, like, 10 kilometers one way. Now he has to run 10, or maybe miles, we're in America, but, like,
Whatever.
you know, like, poor dude is, like, huffing it to Undertown. Now he's gotta huff it back to the zoo. Like,
Thank God for adrenaline.
it's just like, you know, running burpees and then having like a fist fight on one end of the gym, and then you gotta fucking run to the other end. You're like, fuck, god damn it.
And he's not
I'm
even
so
like
glad I didn't go to
the
school
point
with you.
where he's doing all that muscle building that he will be in
Yeah,
the future.
yeah, he's still relatively like, like he doesn't work out
He's
right
still
now.
human.
Like, he's a 25-year-old, which comes with a little bit of adrenaline, but otherwise, like he's just like some dude. Like, he doesn't go to the gym, he doesn't run.
He does, yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's not super buff and powerless. So he sort of has the height and stuff of an athlete, but he doesn't have the training and discipline. And
It is funny, even in the comics, you know, he's not drawn like a 40-year-old, but he's not drawn like a 20-year-old either. He's drawn
And
like
his
more like in
favorite-
his 30s, you know?
Yeah.
But he is like 25, so if you can picture in this comic, if you can just put him as a little bit more baby face than he is, you know, it's like...
And he
yeah,
thinks
it's
the
like
nutritious
this,
meal
you
is
know?
SpaghettiOs.
you know
Come
what?
on.
He had a hard life. He grew up
He's only
fast.
been eating
It's possible.
ramen, for a few weeks now.
Ramen, and
Ramen
his
and
most
soup.
nutritious meal has been a steak sandwich in the next little bit.
Right?
No, that's like
SpaghettiOs.
SpaghettiOs. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting
That's
ahead
in
of
2
myself.
years.
That's right, sorry.
He's eaten nothing but SpaghettiOs for 2 years before he finally goes to Max and gets a steak sandwich.
We've already started reading Full Moon for next week's episode.
It's all right.
But that's 2 years from now.
But yes.
In 2 years, he will
Sorry.
have a great
Yeah.
steak sandwich.
He can't even afford it now.
He can't even afford it then.
Whoops.
Someone else paid for it.
But his diet has been established in these other books.
That shit.
Is crap.
Young
He is
bachelor,
not
college student
athlete.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
He does
He's
damn good for what he does.
he's not filling up on carbs and protein or whatever.
You know how
You-
expensive it is to feed a cat sheep every week?
He's the one that gets the scrap leftovers
Yeah.
or whatever. You can have the hoofs. But anyways, yeah, so he goes tracking back, and yes, the Hags have gone after Will. And Will is looking
Singular
a little-
Haig. He killed the other two.
Yeah, there's
It's only Watson
Watson
left
left.
now.
Watson.
Sorry, I said the Hags, as in the Hag has gone after. Contraction,
Alright,
not
okay,
possessive.
Okay.
Oh.
Sorry, the Hag has gone after Will.
Okay. And we'll accept that answer.
Yeah.
Correct.
Thank you. Yes, because otherwise it would have been the Hague's gone after, and that's less correct. So anyway, so yes, so da-da-da-da. Will's a little battered, not too far. She's threatening and putting her in a bad spot, and Harry's trying to figure out how to play this so he can
Realizes he's got
get the
not
bad
a
guy
lot of
and not
energy
the good guy.
left.
Yeah.
But he has just enough energy for one last spell.
And I feel like this should have been harder to do. He uses his mage hand basically to unlatch a singular lock. And that's it. Just like
slide now.
just the kind of lock that you have on your door, on your apartment, like
Down.
The
a
slide,
bathroom
slide,
door.
slide bolt
It's like
thing.
the bathroom door lock. Like
On a public bathroom,
Yeah.
on a public bathroom, yes. I know, and that's the thing, especially because we said it quite a bit in Stormfront, and Harry reiterates this a bit for the first couple books as he goes along, that he doesn't finesse. So he goes, so exactly, so I'm like, blowing the door off, I could see, but exactly, I'm like, there's not a lot.
it's like
About
he used
Harry.
his like blowing the door off spell, but because he's so weak, all he could manage was like
Click, click, clack.
slightly flicking the lock.
But I was going to say, yes, that was something, again, I was like, this seems just a little too neat and tidy for what Harry, not just what Harry himself usually professes his abilities to, that I'm like, normally he's not exactly like undoing he would just like, snap the lock off the door or something, like pull that whole mechanism or something.
And he's very lucky that it's a slide block. That's the only thing that's keeping a fucking gorilla at bay.
There should be like a passcode and a key card and like a giant metal door.
You know what? In all fairness, this does look like a big, heavy. This doesn't look like the tiny 2-inch one you have on your gate. Like if you look even at it's like a cell door sort of.
Yes.
So
this is a temporary cage, not his enclosure.
It's more like a sea can, I guess. Sea cans have that same sort of ka-chunk open kind of similar. Yeah. But nonetheless, it's still...
Yeah.
Anyways, in the
Seems
face
like a little bit
of
of a
Reese's
stretch.
killer
Convenient plot
and
device.
Will's attacker, Mo the gorilla, upon freedom, decides to take matters into his own hands.
Yes.
And he handles...
It's the old gotcha that you
Watson.
think I'm aiming at you, but really I'm about to bring the ceiling crashing down on your head, or really I'm about to release a 500-pound gorilla.
I'm going to rip your arms off in shadow.
Tell your throat out. So while you're looking at me, nobody knows where the 800-pound gorilla in the room is.
And and Mo does his job well, and Watson is no more.
Quickly and
loses the
efficiently.
And of course, as we will see time and time again, that whole never mojo juice evaporating is so useful for crime scene.
Right?
For crime scene cleanup.
Except, I don't know, because now you have a gorilla that is covered in...
No, you don't.
He's... Okay, well, I guess...
He's not. He was covered in ectoplasm.
It would be his own blood and scrapes if she got a few hits in on him, was all I... Yes, I mean, her stuff is all going to... But now you do suddenly have
and
it's
the
like
precedent was
somebody
already set
got
with
murdered
the
and they think it's
jars.
the gorilla, and like a day later all the wounds suddenly appear on the gorilla. But match up to that. So we have the human murdered and the spectral thing disappeared in the first one. Now we have the murderer, but the victim disappearing in the second.
Could explain away the injuries on the gorilla because that's what Watson was proven with the jars of stealing blood of animals.
Yes, depending on what injuries he incurred from the
So
head.
they think Watson skipped town.
Yeah, because
Still blame it on her.
Yeah, well, they
Watson's
testify that she's
fingerprints
the one that
were-
attacked them when they found the body.
and Watson's fingerprints were found on the doctor.
And so Murphy gets more or less a clean-cut story. She's not satisfied all in all, but the city is.
Hang on half a second. Do we think Watson
Just enough to
has
save-
skipped town? Or did he not take down all three of the Hags?
He took all
They
the
took
hags
them all down, but the cops think that
Oh, the
Watson
cops
skipped
thinks
down.
what? That's what I missed. The cops thinks what? Sorry.
Right.
Yes, so they blame that on Watson. You can feel free.
So it's almost a little bit of like this sort of establishes a little bit of the tension to come.
Again, like
between the
the
two of
first few
them,
books,
because
Harry
where
and
she's
Murphy
like,
just always
I don't-
have that, like, just tell me. And he's like, I can't. And she's like, fucking, like, I don't send you off to be a vigilante. And he's like, I don't have a choice when I'm life or death. And she's like, fucking, I'm supposed to be here. You're supposed to, like, take me. And he's like, I'm, like, in the middle
You're right,
of shit,
because this
you know?
is, like you say, even that step before Stormfront, so
Yeah,
it's
like,
still
there's-
one step back in their relationship where it's still mostly just professional and very little personal.
And he's doing his job, just not to the letter that she wants him to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, as we see time and time again, Murphy has an issue with that, and Dresden can't do much about it. He's like, this is it. Like, take it or leave it. Like, I cannot do my job any differently. And Murphy's like, well, then I don't want you to do your job at all. And then he's like, Murph. And then time and time comes up that she slowly is like, okay, I'm going to
starts to realize the scope of the world he's in.
Exactly.
And
But yeah, the first few books here, and like, you know.
sometimes you can't let the slathering Hecatean Hag off the hook.
Next week-
you gotta put that thing down. She's not human.
Yeah, they're
Murph.
not getting
She's
arrested. You're not
a
keeping them in
person in your
jail.
town. Yeah.
And we will see as we start Full Moon next week. Those tensions get the worst in the entire series is in Full Moon for that whole world's divided, I find. Full Moon is when things between them are
Reach ahead.
at their most contested.
Loggerheads, yeah, contested.
So, yeah, this is just, that little bit, insight into, like, the worlds just don't mesh so perfectly as much as you like it to.
So much tension.
Wizard detective and special investigations cop. As much as you seem like those are kind of same sides of a different sides of the same coin,
Yeah.
they're just kind of not. It's like two different currencies, you know? They just
They're-
aren't
yeah.
quite.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it, and that's what Harry has a hard time reconciling at first and trying to get Murphy to understand.
$5 isn't £5. And
yeah, Murphy just don't give me that crap. Do the conversion for me. And Harry's
Exactly.
like, I can't. It
Yeah,
doesn't right. She's like, okay, well, give it to me in dollars, and he's like, that's where we're getting. Yeah, exactly.
it's illegal to do the conversion.
They will kill me. So, but yeah.
All right.
So there we go.
This concludes our episode 4.2, Lions and Tigers and Gorillas, oh my. Thank you for listening. Join us for the next episode where we begin to examine Full Moon. You can find us online at freeflowrambling.com and McAnally's.ca. There we have links to our other podcasts, social media, and other fun tidbits. Please subscribe if you like what you're hearing, and please consider supporting us through Patreon to keep the magic alive and to see more content. We are Free Flow Rambling. Conjure at it by your own risk.